There is an elite group that control the world. They control governments, companies, and religions. They have done so for a very long time.
It goes a long, long way back. You've got to go right back to Sumeria, Babylon. You've got to go into the Egyptian thoughts, etc., because the whole thing is all tied up.
Their names have changed, their faces altered, but their bloodlines remain the same. We see glimpses of their power. We see the outcomes of their plots and schemes. We see revolutions and war. We succumb to their propaganda and manipulation again and again. Most have no idea that they are under their spell. In the 18th century, they emerged briefly into the spotlight to bring about worldwide cataclysmic change. And they called themselves the Illuminati. Quickly they spread and embedded themselves and their ideals within other secret. In the 18th century, a Freemason wrote the following words: "There are a certain number of people who have arrived at the highest degree of imposture. They have conceived the project of reigning over opinions and of conquering not kingdoms, nor provinces, but the human mind. This project is gigantic and has something of madness in it, which causes neither alarm nor uneasiness. But when we descend to details, when we regard what passes before our eyes of the hidden principles, when we perceive a sudden revolution in favor of ignorance and incapacity, we must look for the cause of it. And if we find that a revealed and known system explains all the phenomena which succeeded each other with terrifying rapidity, how can we not believe it?"
I feel that one of the first lessons is that we should teach at all levels what true Americanism means and is.
Today, the latest weapons, coupled with the fighting skill of the American soldier, stand ready, on the alert all over the world to defend this country, you, the American people, against aggression.
The film you are about to see was produced as a troop information film, specially prepared to alert the American soldier against a hidden enemy, an enemy that can destroy morale, rob the soldier of the will to fight, and even trick him into surrendering. Enemy propaganda. Although this study of communist deception was made for a military audience, we think that you, the American public, will also find it pertinent and enlightening.
This material is just another sample of what you might call the communist war without guns. And this is some of their ammunition. I'm Colonel Foster. I'm going to be your guide for a short tour through the maze of communist propaganda. As for America, the Soviet people are told that conditions here are hopeless. In their theaters, the Soviets see newsreels made up especially to show the terrible truth about us.
This is America of the big capitalists. Wall Street with its big, impressive buildings. But this is the real America, where the workers live. Since they are underpaid, they must eke out a few pennies extra by peddling fruit on the streets. Almost every day in America, you will see police and goon squads attacking the workers who try to strike. But for the wealthy class, there is not a care in the world.
Did you recognize those old newsreel scenes? You know how typical they are of America. As for the Soviet soldier, he is also a prime target for the Kremlin propagandists. The Soviet soldier's head may be full of propaganda, and his ears may be ringing with lies, but he's still a soldier, and a tough one. In all his life, he will never hear the truth about the other side.
Are you really fighting for freedom? Do you not realize by now that you have been sent by the Wall Street merchants to crush Korea's attempt to gain independence? You cannot beat 500 million Chinese and Koreans. Our brave and heroic soldiers will never surrender. Don't let your capitalist leaders deceive you. Don't fight their aggressive war. Let all foreign troops withdraw from Korea. Go home and live in peace.
Well, every GI in Korea wanted nothing more than to go home and live in peace. If only the communists would do the same thing.
Yankee, you die! Yankee, we come! We come get you now! Oh, Yankee, you die now!
I do not say the Americans are bad, only mistaken. Where is this Soviet threat they talk about? Stalin is dead. The Soviets want only peace. So why don't the Americans go home?
Well, if you hear enough of this kind of gossip planted by the communists, enough phony rumors of America's secret plans to launch a war, enough big lies, little lies, and medium-sized lies, maybe you'll begin to believe some of it. Isn't there an end to this? No. There is no end. Not until communism ends, under the weight of its own evils and its own lies.
The best defense against enemy propaganda is truth. For a communist, a thing is true only if it advances the communist cause. It is false if it does not. The soldier who understands how enemy propaganda works is forewarned and forearmed. In this knowledge lies his strength.
The Illuminati are, for many, the men in black. The silent masters in the background who plot our futures. To others, they are a fable, a boys' club, created by frustrated Freemasons in the 18th century. There is, as ever, truth in all, but we must understand that most of the time we end up believing exactly what their marketing and propaganda wants us to believe. Do the Illuminati still exist? Are they the world's most powerful secret society at the heart of it all? We investigate the root and the incredible links grown and fostered over time. This is the real story of the Illuminati. Standard history tells us that they were started by Jean Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Order of the Illuminati. Weishaupt was born in Bavaria on the 6th of February, 1748. His father, Baron Eichstätt, was a professor at the University of Ingolstadt, having married the niece of the curator. The Baron secured a scholarship at the Jesuit College for Adam, who then went on to become a law student at the age of 15. Ingolstadt was a steadfastly Jesuit area and had been for over 200 years. Dissent was not permitted, even though they had been partially suppressed in 1773 by Clement XIV. It has been said of the Jesuits that they were the world's largest and most powerful secret service, due mainly to the fact that they were feared by many in the Catholic Church, and that a universal confession could well be utilized for blackmail. The Jesuits were founded by St. Ignatius of Loyola and 9 companions, just like that other mysterious group, the Knights Templar. Interestingly, Nicolas Poussin, the infamous painter of the shepherds in Arcadia, made famous by the Da Vinci Code, was also a Jesuit, and it seems from the pages of history that the Jesuit order has been at the butt of many outrages. They are intimate with the Vatican, and history has shown that there is little in the politics of the world that the Vatican has not had a hand in. According to a converted nun, M.F. Cusack, the Jesuits offer the world at large a system of theology by which every law, divine or human, may be broken with impunity, and by which the very bulls of popes may be defied. It is a ghastly religion. It is a religion to be abhorred by all honest and honorable men. So, according to this 19th century writer, they were even above the bulls of the Pope. Edwin A. Sherman, an American Freemason also writing in the 19th century, stated, "The Jesuits laugh at us, and during their hilarity, the rattlesnake is coiled at our feet, climbing to strike us in the heart." Even President Lincoln, who was finally assassinated after numerous attempts, said, "The Jesuits are so expert in those deeds of blood that Henry IV said that it was impossible to escape them, and he became their victim. Though he did all he could to protect himself, I know that the Jesuits never forget nor forsake." Amazingly, in the world of the conspiracy theorists, the Jesuits have also been implicated in the creation of the anti-Semitic protocols of the Elders of Zion. They have also been shown to have been complicated in the secrets of the Elders of Bourg-Fontaine, another stirring work. We must also note that the Jesuits have hundreds of links with the Masonic Order and Templar symbols. In the Jesuit Extreme Oath of Induction as recorded in the journals of the 62nd Congress, 3rd Session of the USA, we find that on either side stands a monk, one of whom holds a banner of yellow and white, which are papal colors, and the other a black banner with a dagger and a red cross above a skull and crossbones, a Templar symbol. According to the same text, the letters INRI are established and in fact mean exterminate impious kings. The superior then states, among Roman Catholics to be a Roman Catholic, and to be a spy even among your own brethren, to believe no man, to trust no man, and obtaining their confidence, to seek even to preach from their pulpits, and to denounce with all vehemence in your nature our holy religion and the Pope, and even to descend so low as to become a Jew amongst Jews, that you might be enabled to gather together all the information for the benefit of your order. You have been taught to plant insidiously the seeds of jealousy and hatred between communities, provinces, states that were at peace, and to incite them to deeds of blood, involving them in war with each other, and to create revolutions and civil wars in countries that were independent and prosperous, to take sides with the combatants, and to act secretly with your brother Jesuit who might be engaged on the other side. You have been taught your duty as a spy, to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your power from every source, to integrate yourself into the confidence of the family circle of Protestants and heretics of every class and character, as well as that of the merchant, the banker, the lawyer, among the schools and universities, in parliaments and legislatures, and the judiciaries and councils of state, and to be all things to all men. It seems like a peculiar world that the Jesuits inhabit. On the one hand, they fraternize with Freemasons, royalty, and presidents, and on the other, taking an oath which puts them at odds with just about everybody who is not Catholic. It is into this world that Weishaupt was brought up. By 1775, Weishaupt was professor of canon law at Ingolstadt. And it was this year he, or somebody else, chose for Weishaupt to form a plan of an association which he would head. This association would oppose the forces of superstition and lies, or in other words, religion. The thoughts of many commentators is that Weishaupt so hated the Jesuits that he thoroughly intended to do away with them once and for all. Others believe that Weishaupt was in fact trained by the Jesuits for the purpose of raising a worldwide army of spies who would constantly be feeding back information. the information that the Jesuits could not get any more through their confessions. In fact, the Illuminati even set up their own confessions in line with that of the Jesuits. All of this surveillance and confession was fed back to the Jesuits from the very people who were supposed to be against them. How better to find out what was in the mind of the opposition than to be the opposition? This is a standard double ploy utilized for centuries by the secret services of all religions and states. They even fed the anti-Semitic rhetoric which suited the Catholic Church down to the ground. Through associations with the Freemasons, the Jesuits managed to get information from and influence to the Freemasons of the globe. Just how much influence the Illuminati finally had or have is unknown. That is the idea of secrecy. But what can be seen is that following Weishaupt's amazing creation, out of the order of a much older institution, we suddenly have several worldwide revolutions and the balance of power shifting like never before. However, even though Weishaupt and his close friend Zwack were banished and never seen again, there can be nothing read into this. It could be that they were simply rewarded with a long holiday out of the way, or were, as some believe, sent to Saxe-Coburg and the Netherlands to start the whole thing again. There are older links for the Illuminati, though, that stretch back into the realm of the Shining Ones in Afghanistan. This link is with the Roshanaya, or Illuminated, Enlightened Ones. And reference to them comes from the House of Wisdom in Cairo, a veritable fount of esoteric knowledge predating the Roshanaya by hundreds of years. Again, initiation and ritual match up between the Roshanaya and others such as the Muslim assassins, who we know influenced the Templars and hence Christianity. The earliest leader we know of is Bayezid Ansari, who claimed descent from the helpers of Mohammed. Who exactly these helpers were, nobody knows. Suffice to say, their existence in helping Mohammed escape Mecca pinpoints them in space and time, if nothing else. It is claimed that Bayezid was indoctrinated by the Ismailis, themselves close to the assassins and having hidden lodges around the world. These Ismailis came about to protect a great secret of Islam after the Crusades, in much the same manner as the Cathars protected some strange secret knowledge. It seems that the Ismailis recruited well, as the Illuminated Ones grew fast. Bayezid taught a series of supernatural exercises, which were believed to lead to enlightenment and the Great Secret. an obvious allusion to the fact that the great secret is enlightenment. To obtain this illuminative aspect of the secret, they had to undergo the usual meditation and fasting called the kilowatt, silence. Using merchants and soldiers, Bayezid eventually spread his message across the world by word of mouth, and those Gnostics and mystics who heard the message already understood the secret of illumination. Eventually, Bayezid, who was now known as the Sage of Illumination, founded a great city at Hashtingar with the message of human fulfillment emanating from its center. It was understood that utilization of the human mind in the enlightened aspect could bring about wonders. Eventually, Bayezid died, and his sons and successors were not really up to the job. However, only 40 years after the last leader of the Illuminated Ones died, worship started his Illuminati. As Archon Dural says in Secret Societies, coincidences of date and beliefs connect these Bavarian Illuminati with the Afghan ones, and also with other cults which called themselves Illuminated. The beginning of the 17th century saw the foundation of the Illuminated Ones of Spain, the Alumbrados, condemned in an edict of the Grand Inquisition in 1623. In 1654, the illuminated Guérinets came into public notice in France. Documents still extant show several points of resemblance between the German and Central Asian Illuminists, points which are hard to account for on the grounds of pure coincidence. The Rushanaya has some telling symbols and rituals. The priests were identified with a secret sign where they crossed over both hands flat on the forehead, the place of the third eye and illumination. The colors of the Rushanaya and the Ishmaelis were red and white. These colors are widespread amongst the secret orders, such as the Knights Templar, who also had a red cross on their white clothes, the red and white being symbolically important for the Enlightenment process. Red and white were also incredibly important in the Far East, where we find more illuminated ones, known popularly as the TRIAD. Unfortunately, finding the origins of most Chinese secret societies is nearly